the great house at Collinwood in the year 1840, a time when no one in the Collins family was immune from the evil which held sway over the estate. On this dark and stormy night, despondent over Quentin's impending execution, Daphne Harridge wandered aimlessly into the abandoned East Wing, and there discovered a strange and mystifying room in which she witnessed people she knew leading totally different lives. What she saw was an event occurring in a parallel band of time. Meanwhile, in another part of the house, Gabriel Collins has strangled his wife Edith and placed the body somewhere in the same East Wing that Daphne has just left.
Edith, are you in? Edith, are you here?
What the devil's the matter with you?
Nothing.
Were you expecting to find someone else here?
No, but I was just in Edith's room, and I saw your wheelchair there.
Oh, and you saw it was empty, so your imagination went to work on you, did it?
Well, I couldn't imagine what had happened, and I had a strange feeling while I was in Edith's room that something was wrong. I thought I heard footsteps in the corridor.
Oh, it's your imagination. We're the only ones alone. We're here.
Where is Edith?
She had an appointment to go to. And did it ever occur to you that I might have two wheelchairs?
No, Gabriel, I never thought of that.
Oh, by the way, when did you get home? I didn't hear you come in.
I've been back for over an hour. Gabriel, there's something very strange happening in one of the rooms in the East Wing.
The East Wing? That's been closed for years. What were you doing there?
Well, I heard a piano being played somewhere.
That's ridiculous. We're the only ones here.
No, we're not the only two people in this house. It's so strange, I don't know how to explain it. I went off to try and find out where the music was coming from. And it was coming from a room in the East Wing. But when I walked into the room, it was empty. And then the most amazing thing I've ever seen happened. Suddenly the room changed right before my eyes, and it was fully furnished, and it was brightly lit. And then a man walked in. A man I'd never seen before.
And did you ask the nice man who he was?
Oh, I should have known better than to tell you. You just forget everything I said.
Well, tell us, Daphne. We'd like to hear about it. Where was this room you saw?
It's in the East Wing.
You're not going to believe for a moment that you saw anything, are you?
We're willing to listen.
Now, this is absurd. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. There's no one up there.
Daphne, would you show Julia and me that room?
Now, wait a minute. This is ridiculous. There's no one up there. No one has used that wing for years. She's hallucinating.
Why are you so upset, Gabriel?
Upset? I just think the whole thing's ridiculous, that's all.
Perhaps it is, but there doesn't seem to be any harm in trying to find out.
All right. All right, if you want to waste your time, you're entitled to it.
All right, you come with me. I'll take you there. This is it. This is the room. I admit it sounds fantastic.
To someone like Gabriel it might, but not to Julia or me.
Do you mean you believe me?
Yes, yes, we do.
Daphne, I want you to tell me everything you remember seeing and hearing in this room after it changed.
I can remember the whole thing. Well, there was no one in the room at first, and then a man entered.
A man you had never seen before in your life.
Yes, that's right, but I knew he was a member of the family. His name was Morgan Collins.
Well, how did you know that?
Because Valerie called him that.
Valerie? Was she in the room, too?
Oh, yes. At least I thought it was Valerie, but the man called her Catherine Harridge.
Harridge? That's your last name.
Yes, I know. And that's the most amazing part of all, because you see, after the man left the room, the next person who came into it, it was me. Now you think I imagined it.
On the contrary, I'm more than ever convinced that it actually happened. Do you remember what the people in the room were talking about?
Yes, Morgan Collins had summoned Catherine to the house to ask her to marry him. And she seemed receptive, but she put off giving him an answer.
Now, what was the other Daphne doing then?
Well, as I said, she came in later, and she had overheard the conversation. She reminded Catherine that there was another man that she'd loved since childhood, a man who would soon be returning to Collinwood.
And did anything else happen in that room?
No, nothing except that there was something about the house that Daphne was frightened of. She said she didn't see how any bride-to-be could be happy here.
Did you try to communicate with those people?
Yes, of course I did, but they couldn't see me and they couldn't hear me, and I even tried to get into the room and I couldn't. There was some sort of a barrier that kept me out.
I presume you've never heard of something called parallel time.
No, what is that?
The existence of two or more worlds in different time bands, running concurrently. The people you saw in that room were in effect the same as those you know in this world. But because they made different choices in their lives, obviously their behavior was different, although they looked the same. Julia and I once shared a very similar experience. She'll tell you about it on the way downstairs. I think you better get some rest. And we all should leave this room. It may revert to parallel time without warning. And if we're in it, we cannot get out.
What will you do, Elliot?
I'll wait in the corridor and see if anything happens. If I were you, I'd say nothing more about this to Gabriel. Let him think you imagined it.
I understand.
Come, Daphne.
Oh, Morgan, you startled me.
Well, I thought when you left the house you had gone to think about my proposal.
Well, I had, but
But then I thought maybe you might have come back. Well, I hoped that you might have made a decision.
oh, Morgan, you do love me, don't you?
More than you could possibly imagine. More than anyone you've ever loved before.
Do you mean more than anyone has ever loved me?
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. You've made it quite clear enough that the past is forgotten, and I accept that.
Oh, you are a good, gentle man. And I do love you. All I need is time. Just a little more time. I shouldn't have raised your hopes. I simply came back because I forgot my purse.
Good evening, Catherine.
Good evening.
How long were you standing there?
Oh, just a few moments. I heard voices and I wanted to talk to you, but I suppose it's too late. We can do it some other time.
Oh, not at all. I know my way to the door. Morgan, you stay here and talk to your aunt. Good night.
It's always nice to see you, Catherine.
Thank you. Good evening.
You've asked her to marry you, haven't you?
Nothing that ever happens in this house escapes you, does it?
The proposal was inevitable. We've all known it. I suppose she did not give you an immediate answer.
You suppose correctly, as always.
Catherine knows her own mind. She's strong and she's loyal. And if she accepts you, she will make a fine wife.
You're leading up to something, my dear aunt. What is it?
Leading up to the question of where you and Catherine will live after you're married.
Well, we're going to live here, of course.
You know very well that you cannot bring anyone into this house, and you know very well why.
I refuse to allow my fears to be decided by the fears that exist in this house.
I am speaking of realities. How can you possibly deal with the problem if Catherine is living here? How can you explain to Catherine that she's got to lock her doors every night, that her life is in constant danger? What in the world will you tell her?
I would tell her nothing. Because I believe that she is what this house has needed for a long time. I believe things that would change if she were here.
They would change only if you told her the whole truth. And your mother and I would never accept that. You know you must never tell anyone.
Now listen to me. We cannot allow this secret to go on any longer. We can't live in this atmosphere of fear. We can't lock our doors every night. We can't walk down the halls without being feared.
Shh, please lower your voice now.
The servants are in bed. There's no one listening.
They may be or they may not be. But I just don't want to take the chance of anyone overhearing.
It all. Julia, I never even dreamed of anything like a time war.
If the room changed once, it will change again. The danger, the problem is that we don't know when it will change. So the only thing to do is if you go to the room, do not go inside it.
Do you mean I could be trapped in that other time?
Exactly. Do not go inside that room.
Have our visitors left?
Yes, a few moments ago.
Oh, and did they find any strange people wandering around the East Wing?
No. No, they found nothing.
Precisely as I thought they'd find. Oh, Edith didn't come in, did she?
No, not yet.
Oh, no, of course not. No, the nature of her appointment would require something more than an hour.
What are you talking about, Gabriel?
I'm talking about my wife's mad infatuation with Gerard Stiles. Yes, they've been doing that for quite some time now. They have a little trysting place, and they go off together from time to time.
I can't believe that.
Why would I lie about a thing like that? It's quite true. Actually, it's rather amusing. You see, Edith doesn't know it, but Gerard has had his fill of her. She's become an albatross around his neck, and he can't wait for a time to dispose of her.
Gabriel, I don't know how you can talk like that. I really don't.
Oh, it's easy, my dear. It's incredibly easy.
She's dead.
She's become an albatross around his neck, and he cannot wait to find a way to dispose of her.
Gerard. Oh, it must all be true. What Quentin and Barnabas told me in the jail cell and what Gabriel said just now. Oh, no! Gabriel! Gabriel, where are you?
What do you want with Gabriel?
Why? Nothing. It's not very important, really.
I think you're lying to me. I think you're hiding something.
No, I'm not. I've just been very upset all day, ever since I heard the news about Quentin.
Is that what it is?
Yes, it is.
But I suggest you go upstairs and try to get some sleep.
Yes, perhaps you're right. I think I'll do that.
Yes, I think it's a good idea.
Good night, Gerard.
Good night, Daphne.
Gee, Gerard, I'm right. They must have had a fight here and Gerard dropped his cufflink. What you're up to. Stay away from me, Gerard.
Neither one of us are going to leave this room until you tell me what you're up to. Oh!
What is it? What's wrong?
It's Edith. She's dead. She's been murdered.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yes, I know who killed her. Gabriel, we've got to go to the police.
No, wait a minute.
Gabriel, you were right. It was Gerard. Gerard killed Edith. He nearly killed me. I was just in Edith's room.
Wait a minute. You were in Edith's room?
Yes, and Gerard followed me there. I knocked him out with a candlestick. I locked the door. I'll get the carriage and go for the police.
No, wait a minute. No, we've got to do this right. No, don't panic. We're safe. Now, just tell me exactly what. He's up in the room, and the room's locked?
He's in the room. Gabriel, aren't you even shocked by all of this?
Of course I'm shocked by all of this. I tried to warn Edith again and again, but she wouldn't listen. Now, it's vital that I know everything that's happened. Close the doors. Close them. Now, how are you sure it's Gerard?
I've got proof.
What kind of proof?
This. It's a cufflink with the letter G on it. I found it in Edith's room. They must have struggled and Gerard must have lost it.
And how are you sure that this is enough proof for the police?
Of course it's enough proof for the police. They'll come here, they'll question Gerard, they'll find the missing cufflink. You can tell them about the affair that Edith and Gerard were having, and of course they'll arrest him.
You're quite right, my dear. But you know, it's rather frightening to think that something as small and insignificant as a missing cufflink could condemn a man.
Oh, no. No.
Yes, it's mine, Daphne. And I'm much obliged that you brought it back to me. You're right, Daphne. You're going somewhere. But you're not going to the police.